Hello everyone, my name is Egidio and welcome to our video about Lecture 2 from Harvard's course CS50's Web Programming with Python and JavaScript. And today our class will be about Python, one of the most important programming languages to create your web project. And click on the page on the description to get the 3 steps you can take to become a web developer without a degree. So let's start. Well, the first thing we need to do with Python is to run the most famous command ever, so we need to print a hello world. So to run your Python file, you need to install Python on your computer, and then you can use the terminal. You can open the terminal on your computer. Otherwise, if you have Visual Studio Code on your computer, you can use it and open the terminal inside Visual Studio Code. And here we are. If we type Python and then the name of the file, Python will use its interpreter to run the file, what the interpreter should do, and then the interpreter will read the file and do what we've written here. It printed hello world and CS50W students. And compared to Java, for example, Python is really easier to work with variables because you don't need to define if it's a text or if it's a string or an integer or a float. You just need to type and use the variables. So if you write, for example, name equals John, and then you print the name, Python will understand that the variable name is a string. And here it is, John. So if you say like name, then we have age, that'll be 30. We can see here that John is a text, so it will print the text. And age is a number, is an integer, so here we can see an integer. You can use, for example, also variables. So when we use the print function, you can see here, then we need to write the function here, and inside the parentheses, we put even the value itself, or you can put the variable that you want to print. Otherwise, if you want to print more complex sentence, you can use like print and then the F inside, and you can write normally. So you put the variable inside the curly brackets, and then you continue your sentence. And when you work with Python, the indentation is really important. For example, if you do this and you try to run again, you find here an error, unexpected indent. So Python really cares for these spaces in these lines. So when you use this, for example, if you use an if command, if is student, then you can see that Visual Studio Code put the space here. So if is a student, well, let's remove that part from the sentence. If we want to check if it's not, we can do like this. Let's run again. My name is John, I'm 30 years old, and I'm a student. Let's check here. And now, John is not a student anymore. So if you're using the terminal and you want your user to fill the information of a certain variable, you can use the input function. So you can do like this. Name will be input. And then inside the input function, you put the text that you want to show to your user. So what's your name? Age. How old are you? Is a student. We put like this. Are you a student? Well, you can see that the isStudent variable is being considered a string, just a text, not a true or false statement, not a Boolean type of information. A Boolean is only true or false. 0 or 1. So let's do this. So if we run it again, well, my name is Alex, I am 35, and I'm a student. True or false? Let's type true. I'm a student. Let's try again. Alex, as pretended. How old are you? 35 again? I'm not a student. It's false. I'm not a student. So now we are converting the text to a boolean. When we work with a sequence of information, for example, a sequence of dates or names or places, we have different ways to organize this information in Python. We can work with strings, and now I use a hashtag here in Python to comment in my file. We can work with strings, we can work with lists, tuples, sets, and dictionaries. So this is a string, just a group of characters that looks like a sentence. So if we save this as a variable and then we try to print just the first information of this sequence, use the brackets and then the zero position, the first information we can find. You see here that the first one is the H. If we try the, the next one, we start at 0, and the next one will be the number 1. It's the E from the hello. If we work with lists, we use the brackets, and then we put the information. So Stark, let's put some houses from Game of Thrones. Lannister, Targaryen, and that's it. Let's print them. We just use print and houses. Python will understand that now this is a list, and when we print this one, we want to print everyone. So here's the list. If we want to print just the first one, we use just like the string, but Python will understand that it's not the first character, it's the first item of the list. So here's the house Stark. If we work with tuples, tuples are usually a group of two information that you can use, for example, a location. So these are the coordinates of the place, and you can get them inside this variable location using the 0 position and the first position. When we work with sets, it means that we will create a sequence of information. It will be unordered, so it doesn't matter the order we will put information. And this sequence cannot have duplicated information. So let's create a set of programming languages. Let's add here Python, Java, and then C. So let's print the set. So here we have C, Java, and Python. We can print also the length of the set. There are 3 items. And as we've mentioned, you cannot have 2 identical items in a set. So let's add here Python again. And then let's print and check the length of the set again. So you can see here that Python already exists, and that's why it's not inserted again inside the set. But if we change a letter, a character, Python will put this information inside because it's case sensitive. So this information is different compared to this one. This is just not an example of parts of your code that you can check information if it's the same, and for some technical issue, it will say that they are different. And in the end, we have dictionaries. A dictionary is an interesting kind of sequence because you have a relation between a key and a value. So for example, let's create a dictionary. Let's create like the characters from Game of Thrones. To create a dictionary, we use the curly brackets to say that that is a dictionary. And inside you put, for example, Sansa, and then colon is from Stark, and then a comma to separate the items. Ned is also from House Stark. Then Jaime is from the House Lannister. And when we try to print, for example, the characters, when we say the name of the character, you can see here that the dictionary answers us that Sansa is from House Stark. Otherwise, you can also use this information to update the value from the key called Sansa. Now, the character Sansa will be from House Targaryen. Let's print again. And now, when we updated the value of the key called Sansa, we can see here that now she's from the House Targaryen. The value of that key is updated. And besides like printing every single item from the list, just like I did here, we can use the for command. We can use a loop. So in this case, we can use the the length of the dictionary. What we are doing here, we are saying that for each item in this sequence, we will print the item. And then if we want to print the key, so in this case, as the dictionary has has two information per item, the key and the value, we are only setting here the key of the list. So if we put another variable here, the house, we'll print the character. We can use the formatting experience. So we just need to call items from the characters variable, and then it will bring every single group here to these two variables. Here we'll put the name, the key, and in the other one we'll put the value of the item. So you can see here, Sansa is from House Targaryen, Ned is from House Stark, Jaime is from House Lannister. And Sansa is just Targaryen because we updated here. Until this point we have seen some functions, so the print and the add to put some information inside the set. And we can create our own function. So for example, instead of doing this to show the characters from the dictionary, let's put this inside a function. Let's define the function as print Game of Thrones characters. And then inside the parentheses, we say what information we expect to have as an input. So we will expect, let's call this a sequence. So we already have this implementation here. So for character and house in, let's change now the name of the variable. It will be just sequence because we can put any variable, we can call then later this function anywhere, and we will use just the sequence as a name. So print got characters, and then the sequence will be the new name of the variable. And then here, let's delete this one and this one. Let's just call the function print Game of Thrones characters. And then we put the characters list inside.